Imagine a world where the swastika flies over London, where the United States kneels to Berlin, where freedom is crushed under the weight of 1,000-year Reich. This could have happened. What if Hitler had won World War II? World War II was decided by a handful of critical battles. In our timeline, D-Day succeeded. But what if it didn't? What if the Allied forces were pushed back into the sea? If the Nazis held the beaches of Normandy, they would turn their full strength back toward the Soviet Union, breaking the stalemate at Stalingrad. The Red Army would collapse without the Western Allies to their aid. The Eastern Front would crumble, and Hitler would seize Moscow by 1943. With both fronts secured, Germany would complete its conquest of Europe. Britain, bombed into submission and starved by a relentless blockade, would surrender. Churchill would become a martyr of the British resistance, executed by the Nazis, while the royal family is exiled. The swastika flies over Buckingham Palace. France, already occupied, is fully annexed. Spain and Italy, now strong Axis allies, would join in, expanding the reach of the Third Reich. Every nation on the continent would be absorbed into the Nazi Empire, each one forced to abandon its language, its culture, its very identity. Resistance would be crushed, and entire populations deported, either to slave labor camps or simply exterminated to make room for German settlers, all in service of Hitler's fanatical dream of a racially pure empire. The new order that Hitler envisioned would become a reality. Cities across Europe would be demolished and rebuilt in the grandiose monuments to Aryan supremacy. Paris would be redesigned with massive stone avenues and Nazi banners draping the Eiffel Tower. Berlin would become Germania, the capital of the world, with colossal buildings casting long shadows over millions of marching soldiers. Schools would teach only Nazi ideology, science would serve the state, and dissent would be punishable by death. The Holocaust would continue. In this world, it never ends. Instead, it expands. Every group deemed undesirable, Jews, Slavs, Romani, disabled people, political opponents, all are hunted down and murdered. The death camps would grow larger and more efficient. Every part of the Nazi worldview, every prejudice, every hate group, every conspiracy theory finds its horrifying expression. Across the Atlantic, the United States watches in horror but remains powerless. After the failed D-Day, American morale collapses. President Roosevelt dies before rallying the nation again, facing German nuclear research that outpaces its own. America negotiates an uneasy peace. Britain has fallen. Europe is lost. The Atlantic becomes a wall of Nazi U-boats and aircraft carriers, preventing any further intervention. Over decades, American democracy weakens under the pressure of fear and isolation. Eventually, the Reich extends its influence into South America, surrounding the US from the south and east. In Africa, Nazi forces would sweep through the continent, enslaving millions and extracting resources for the war machine. The colonies are stripped bare to feed Germania. In the Middle East, the oil fields are seized and puppet regimes installed. Asia is divided between Germany and its Axis partner, Japan, which dominates the Pacific. The world becomes a chessboard, and the Nazi Reich holds nearly all the pieces. This is a world where art, science, and freedom suffocate under tyranny, where generations grow up knowing only obedience and fear, where monuments to hate rise from the ashes of what once was. It is a world of silence, a silence broken only by the sound of boots marching on endless stone streets. History is fragile. It bends at the smallest moments. A storm on D-Day, a retreat at Stalingrad, a single bullet in Moscow. The world we know today exists because those moments went one way, not the other. Freedom won, but only just. What if Hitler had won? Thankfully, we'll never know.